Okay.
All right. Hey, welcome to ChoochCast, man, the best podcast and live stream on YouTube that you don't know about yet. So you're here, and go and subscribe down below. I got with me right now Niner Sharma, man. Niner Sharma, the guru of everything San Francisco 49ers. You got Chooch. This is ChoochCast. This was born from KXSF, where we went and started, and now here we are live, coming to you from Phoenix, Arizona. Sharma's in Portland, Oregon, and here we go, man. We are knocking it down. How in the heck are you doing, Mr. Guru?
I'm good, man. I'm doing great. Enjoying the week at home again.
Yes.
You know, trying to get outside as much as I can. Still thinking about that Niner draft from last week, so things are good.
Excellent. Yeah, we did go over the first day of the draft, man. We were digging it. You were digging it. Got them some serious talent. And now we're on to day 2. All right. Tell me about, what are your perceptions? What did you like? What did you not like? Tell me about day 2 as a San Francisco 49er fan.
I liked it a lot. Didn't think they could outdo themselves on day 1 because of the lack of picks, but they actually did. If you combine the draft as well as picking up Trent Williams from the Redskins. And then you add trading 2 players who were not going to see the field, Matt Breida and Marquise Goodwin, and getting picks in return for them and clearing about $7 million in cap space, which they need. They're one of the lowest teams in terms of cap space. So the Trent Williams thing being the cherry on top. I mean, that was to be able to replace Joe Staley, which I'm really bummed he retired. Obviously, he's been a stalwart for the Niners. But to be able to get a younger 8-time Pro Bowler to replace a 35, 36-year-old 6-time Pro Bowler, that's pretty spectacular stuff.
I was taken back with how active they were. Okay, so a team just coming off the Super Bowl, you would think, okay, man, you know what? They're pretty set for good. They're pretty good right now. But no, man, we've played enough organized sports, and we've watched how fast things change these days in sports and in life. That, you know what, man, they didn't sit still. In fact, they were one of the busiest teams, and not only that, I think they wholehandedly improved their team for this coming year and the future, man. I was impressed.
Yeah, I think you're right. And most teams in their position, like you said, would have stood pat. And a good example of that is the Rams the year before. Hey, we made it to the Super Bowl. We had a 10-point lead with 6 minutes left. We're good. And a lot of teams would be okay with that and roll it into the next season. But the Niners weren't satisfied with that, in my opinion. I think that goes to that John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan as a duo really know what they're doing. They're young guys with a lot of energy. They're not from the good old boy network of the NFL. And I really think that they did improve their team, which they had a great team last year. I mean, they arguably should have won that Super Bowl.
Not arguably.
I mean, we've already talked about that, and save for a few plays. So I think it was a tremendous weekend for them. And not only from the draft and the Trent Williams thing, but if you look at every team signs 10 undrafted free agents after it's all said and done. And I think they did a great job in that. They got a safety, which they really need, who was from Alabama, Jared Maiden, who was projected in the 3rd or 4th round, and they ended up signing him as an undrafted free agent. Paid for Nick Saban, right? Position of need. And then they got 2 running backs, one from UW and one from Baylor. And Shanahan with those undrafted free agent running backs. That was Matt Breida was an undrafted free agent, Raheem Mostert. They know how to work their magic with those guys. And so
they definitely do. They make people's careers, man. They make their careers for those guys. Yeah. And not only that, then they turn around and trade Breida first, and they didn't even pay anything for him, really. I mean, they accumulate value and then go and send them off to bring in more value, and if you're a trader on Wall Street, that's what you do, right?
Yeah,
so,
right. Good analogy.
So hey, man, I think it's if I'm an undrafted free agent, I'm thinking, man, if I got the choice between the Niners and say Indianapolis Colts or Miami Dolphins or the Raiders, I think I'm going Niners, dude. I think because, obviously they know what they're doing. You can just look at it, and this is like being an agent, saying, well, look what they did with this undrafted free agent. Look what they did with this one. Look what they did with this one. And they can make your career, and that's a smart move. And therefore, they're going to get the better undrafted free agents like you're talking about.
especially at the running back position. Especially at the running back position. I mean, they have had a history of doing that all the way back to the Denver days and Mike Shanahan. And obviously, Kyle's taken a lot away. The nice thing about Kyle, he's got a mix of two things. He's got the old school in him from his father, learning from him, watching how he, operated. But he's also got he's young. He can relate to the current player. And he wears flat brimmed hats. He wears Yeezy sneakers, listens to rap, named his son after Lil Wayne.
Oh,
whoa. Named him Wayne after Lil Wayne.
I haven't heard about that. And here we are, dude. Nice knowledge. Good stuff. Yeah.
So he's got a nice combination of both. The newer, fresh blood, young energy with the old school. We're going to run the ball. I mean, they run the ball more than any team just about except for the Ravens, and you kind of throw them out the window because they're running a lot with the quarterback.
Right. Yeah, it's not the same.
Right. And so, now on the flip side, if you're a wide receiver, do you want to sign with the 49ers? Probably not. They're not going to throw the ball that much. And, it's definitely, although they did sign a receiver from Notre Dame in their undrafted free agent class, but he probably won't, they're deep at receiver. We don't know how good, except for Deebo Samuel, how good they are, but they're deep.
They're deep. But I think you're right. I think that when it comes to, receivers on the Niners, they are they let Garoppolo do so much. Okay. Yeah. That's what I believe, they're more of like a, he's not a gunslinger, but they put him in good spots then, but they're not going to, like you said, they're more run heavy than they are anything else. And that, we're talking about, Trent Williams coming in on a fantastic draft day trade. Yeah. And he replaces, to me, man, I think he's up on, I don't want to say a Niner legend, but maybe on the offensive line. It's someone that you're always going to remember. Someone who always showed up for work, did his job. Not only that, man, just a Pro Bowler, a clubhouse presence, man. They are going to miss that in Joe Staley.
They are going to miss him. I was really hard on Joe Staley early in his career, and he really won me over as time went on. And here's a guy, 13 years with one organization. How many guys can say that anymore, right?
No,
very few. 6-time Pro Bowler and a fantastic technician. He's not the biggest guy. He was a tight end in college. He's he's the fastest 40 time in the combine of any tackle in history of the NFL. So he's more of a sleeker athletic guy. So instead of using brute force, he's more of a tactician, really good with his techniques, and he's able to teach the younger guys those techniques too, which is they're going to miss. There is rumor he might come back in the coaching ranks with the Niners or somehow be affiliated with the organization. We'll see on that. But yeah, I really think that Jed York is probably going to retire that jersey and not let anybody else wear it. Just because of, Now he's not a Hall of Famer in my book.
No, I don't think so either. No.
In terms of the Niner Hall of Fame. And when I say not a Hall of Famer, he will get into the nominee class, where they nominate 50 guys, but I don't think he'll ever get all the way there. And but I think as far as the Niners Hall of Fame, I think he's got a place there. Him, the newer guys are him, and nobody's worn 21. Frank Gore will get his retired when he retires, and then Patrick Willis. Nobody's wearing 52. And so those are kind of the newer guys that I would think of that are going to go up on the Niners Wall of Fame. So
fair enough.
Big loss, but to replace it with Trent Williams, an 8-time Pro Bowler, like I said, who wanted to come to the 49ers. He forced his way to the 49ers. Last year, Ron Rivera said that the Redskins could have gotten a first-round pick for him, but he wouldn't allow it. Then the Vikings wanted to trade for him this year, and they were going to pay him the top money that he wanted for a multi-year deal. And he because he wanted to go to San Francisco, where he has experience with Kyle Shanahan. He's played with the Shanahans before in the early days of the Redskins.
Okay.
I think he's going to come in with a great attitude. The only concern I have is his injury history. He's only played 16 games twice in 9 years. And now, is that from being injury prone, or you could also say that the Redskins have always been out of the mix so early that guys don't tend to risk their careers by playing through injury when they have no hope of getting to the playoffs?
And when they don't like being on that team.
And when they don't like, yeah, exactly. And when they don't like the team. And so that would be the biggest concern. But, he took a year off, so he'll be fresh. He'll be rusty, but he can knock that rust off in the preseason and then hopefully be fresh by the time the season starts.
Yeah, I mean, and when is the season going to start? That's always another thing. But I mean, that's we'll parse that out at some other time. I think a lot of other points. I've been reading about it and all this kind of stuff. I wanted to mention one thing about Joe Staley. I did read recently in the Athletic, man, talking about him maybe going into media. Man, he's a good he likes being a broadcaster kind of guy, And I think that would be great. But I don't know. I maybe to take a year off and do that media for a year or two, But I think he's invaluable, man, as a coach right now. I mean, it would be unreal, man, to help the guys. And that's a tight-knit group. I could see him helping out one way or another. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and even if he's not technically a coach, just he lives nearby, just hang out at the facility, and be there for practice. And I think he will take some time off. I think the media thing, he's definitely got the personality for it. You never know how that's going to pan out, but he's got a great personality. He's got an incredible personality. Really smart. Like I said, knows the game very well. And but I think here's the choice those guys got to make. If you're good enough to go into media, it's a cush job. You get paid a lot. You work low hours. You do travel a lot. Yeah, in coaching, now you're talking 20-hour days.
Oh, 20?
Yeah, some of these guys.
I mean, I've been here 14, 15, dude. But have we pushed it to 20? I mean, is that what?
Some people. I mean, I think John Gruden.
Oh man,
one of those guys. I'm not saying he's good or anything, but he's one. He puts in the time.
That might be a little overdoing it. Yeah.
Maybe he should take less time.
I think you're right, dude. I've been saying that. I'm like, hey, what did you just do right there, John? Maybe you need some sleep, brother.
Seriously. Get a few extra Z's.
Well, there's a whole thing about optimizing and try to do too much, and he's a classic case, man. Talk about burnout, Jesus. Yeah. I can imagine just being the people around him and stuff. He's got a personality like Harbaugh. After a while, people get tired of Harbaugh. Yeah, everyone gets tired of Harbaugh. Yeah. It was like me in my 30s dating. Oh
God. Wow, let's not go down that. I know too much on that, so let's not go down that road.
Okay. Yeah. They got tired of me after a while. Yeah. And you know what?
Well, I saw it. I saw it firsthand. That might have been in your 20s. That might have been in your 20s, but I saw it.
Well, it was probably in the. Oh, I know it was in the 20s too. Yeah. 20s and 30s are fun years, boy.
I agree.
Right on, man. I got Dr. Sharma here on ChoochCast, man, joining me for a great conversation about those San Francisco 49ers, man, what they did in the draft, what he likes, and where he sees them going in the future. And let's talk a little bit about that, man. Got a tough division. Got that team that's right above you up there in the Northwest. I'm down here in Phoenix. Got this team down here. Where do you see them in the division now after this draft is completed?
I still think they're the best team in the division. And I think the team you always have to worry about is the Seattle Seahawks because of one man, Russell Wilson. Mm-hmm. I mean, he single-handedly wins games by himself. There's no doubt. I mean, their roster's never great, but they're always there in the mix. They were there within an eyelash of winning the division last year and having a home playoff game, and the Niners ultimately got it on that goal line stand.
But what a game! That was an awesome game.
That was an amazing game, and so he's always going to scare. He's the scariest player in the NFL in my mind. A lot of people say, "Oh, Lamar Jackson's the scariest," and this guy's Tom Brady. For me, it's Russell Wilson, and maybe it's because we're in that division. But man, they're always behind, but you can never relax because
they're never out.
The fourth quarter he's going to make a run. I think the Arizona Cardinals improved themselves the most. Mm-hmm. Out of any team that they traded for DeAndre Hopkins. Number one, they got a stud linebacker in the first round from Clemson, Isaiah Simmons. And I really like Kyler Murray. And he's going to continue. His ceiling has not been hit. Right. And so, and Kingsbury, although Kingsbury's young and will make some mistakes and probably will lose them some games, he's a young mind that I think he's got a good ceiling too, in my estimation.
Interesting about him because he doesn't have a great track record.
No, not at all.
And what's very interesting to me on why they went through a lot of lengths to get him.
Yeah,
and I was thinking, how many people were actually after him? That's going to be interesting. Like you said, I think he will lose a couple games, be outcoached. Shanahan's, the McVays. Forgot about the Rams. For sure.
The Rams they may come in last place, which is kind of scary to say, but they didn't really improve themselves that much, and they have gotten worse.
Yeah. I think I know they had their year.
They had their window. Yeah.
It closed quick. I mean, quick. That's isn't it funny how I just got to thinking how things like they happen so quick now, and everyone wanted to be like, who's going to be the next Sean McVay? Now no one even talks about him really. Now we got some younger coaches, the Kingsburys, the Shanahans that we're talking about, and there's other coaches throughout the league that are getting more pressed, man. I want to get your take real quick, man. That I'm impressed a little bit with the new GM and coach combo, and they're drafting the Miami Dolphins, dude. What do you think about the Miami Dolphins, man? And now that division is a little bit weaker.
Wide open. The division's wide open now for the first time in 20 plus years. I think the Buffalo Bills are probably the best team in that division right now as we stand today.
Oh, that sounds weird.
Yeah, I know, right? We're going back early 90s right now. Jim Kelly, the K-gun. Since the last time we say that. But I really like to coach Flores, the guy from New England, and I really like what they did last year. They knew they weren't going anywhere, and they really loaded up on draft picks.
Yes, they got rid of people.
Got rid of people that didn't want to be there, loaded up on draft picks. They knew they weren't going anywhere, but let's load up for the future because, hey, Tom Brady is 42. He's going to retire, or he ultimately went to Tampa Bay. So we can load up for 2 years from now, and now we have our quarterback, Tua.
Yes.
We'll see how that pans out.
What a great situation for him, man, to be able to come in, injury prone as he's been, to heal up and to learn from the Amish rifle, dude. Fitzpatrick,
baby.
The guy's a Harvard guy. I mean, do you think he knows the playbook? I think he knows the playbook, dude. So he's made a career out of just doing enough to people to want him. And I think that's a great situation for him. I look at the Dolphins as kind of like an up and comer, man. I'm gonna follow them, dude. They're kind of fun they're kind of fun to watch. And Flores and their new GM, man. I watched them on the draft. I was impressed. Yeah.
I'm really impressed with Flores. He's got the Bill Belichick pedigree, but he's his own man. He's his own man. He's not kind of, a lot of these Belichick guys haven't really panned out like Matt Patricia is in Detroit. I mean, it's just, it doesn't impress me. He never did, but this guy Flores really does. And if you look at last year, everybody was saying, oh my God, the Dolphins going 0-16 for sure, 4 or 5 games in, but those guys played hard and they won, I think 4 or 5 games they ended up winning. And just from playing hard, they didn't give up like most teams that do in their position. And that's coaching. That's 100% coaching.
Coaching and heart, man. Yeah, definitely. No, like I said, man, I'm looking forward to their season, man. He's talking about the New England coordinators, man. Do I have to say Romeo Cornell?
Yeah.
I have to say Charlie White. I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
Oh God, is that guy still stealing money somewhere? He's got to be.
I think he's sitting on his $20 million that he made coaching.
He kiss Belichick's ass every time he sees it, dude.
Yeah.
And say thank you. Yeah.
And Eric Mangini is another one who's good on TV. I like him on TV. Good on TV, but not a great coach. So
no, he's not. He was not a good coach. And so there's a big tree right there, right? It's a big tree, but it's kind of fun to look back and go, okay. And this is the changing of the guard, right? Now we're seeing a lot of changing of the guard. We see it faster these days, man. It's kind of fun to kind of hypothesize, man, and see what's going to happen in this area. But I like what the Dolphins are doing. Is there another team, maybe, man, put you on the spot a little bit, that you look at and go, okay, man, I like what they're doing, and I see what they're doing in the draft, and maybe it's a team that you think could sneak up on some people next year?
In the AFC or just overall?
Overall's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the Dolphins were definitely on the top of my list for those purposes. I think that this isn't really an up and comer team, but I think the Philadelphia Eagles have kind of underachieved with injury, and I think if they can stay healthy, they'll be a force. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is the one that really pops out in my mind. I mean, my God, talk about going from Jameis Winston, 30 to 35 picks to Tom Brady. You get Gronk to come out of retirement. They've got a good coach. I like Bruce Arians. I do. They've got a good offensive-minded coach. And I think that their defense last year wasn't terrible. So if they can just get that defense a little better with Tom Brady there, assuming that he can still play, and last year was kind of regulation. That's still up in the air.
Well, you know why Tampa's defense was on the field all the time? Because Jameis kept on throwing the ball to the freaking other team, dude.
I mean,
they're on the field all freaking, half the game, more than half the game, man. So they're gonna love not being around. And that guy, oh man, I'll never forget. What was that? What was he doing? Eating W's, man. Oh, yeah, I'm eating W's or something. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing, man?
That guy's just trouble. He's been trouble from college. I think he's in a good situation now. He's gone to New Orleans as a backup, and maybe he'll grow up. Yes, maybe he'll look at Drew Brees and he'll grow up a little bit. I think he's got talent. Apparently, he got his eyes fixed. He's a
little late. Come on.
Where was this? I mean, don't you do that in high school or college?
Oh man. Yeah,
I understand that one, but
I know. That was surprising. I'm surprised the Saints took a flyer on him because and they know that Drew Brees isn't young. He's no youngster, so they need someone if they feel like he can come in and do a job and learn behind Drew, obviously, and maybe he can see his targets now. That'd be nice too. So
that'd be good to be able to see what color jersey you're throwing to.
I hear that's highly recommended. I don't know. Could be wrong.
And I actually like what the Denver Broncos are doing of going in the other conference. Now the huge caveat is, can Drew Lock actually play?
That's a big caveat. Elway has not been good at identifying quarterbacks, dude. You muted yourself. That's all right, man. That's all right. Yeah, you're on mute. That's okay. But anyways, Elway has not been good at drafting quarterbacks. And you'd think from a quarterback standpoint that he would be better at it. But sometimes guys like that are not there you go, man. You're back. All right.
Still can't hear you. And I'm on my computer.
Wow, you can't hear me, huh? I'll be darned. All right. Well, I'll tell you what, man. Niner Sharma, we're going to sign off, man. Okay, we're going to sign off. It's been a fantastic conversation, dude. We will do this again soon. We will get your technicality. We'll get those technical things worked out. Thank you so much for coming on, dude. ChoochCast coming to you live all around the world now on YouTube. You never know where I'm going to be at. You never know who I'm going to get. Niner Sharma, you are fantastic. The guru. We'll talk some Niner football later. Adios for now.